Okay, what do we got today? This is my Uncle Taka's pine. I know we've been looking at this on and off. A couple years ago, it got really unhealthy, so I have to work the roots and put it in a new, bigger container. Unfortunately, having done that and the tree growing, it's gotten heavy and I've gotten older, so I had to improvise a way to transport. I put it on my gorilla cart, and the beauty of this is it's about the same height as my display table, so instead of trying to pick it up, I can slide it on. That's what you gotta do as you start to mature in age. Oh, I could remember in my younger days, I could pick this thing up no sweat. But I could probably do it now, but then I'll be in painful days. So what's the game plan for today? Well, you could tell that this has gotten healthy, and we got some long branchings, right? These candles. Well, these are vigorous, which is great for recovery, but not good for finished bonsai. So what I'm gonna do today is to take off the healthy ones and work with the less vigorous grower. So what I'm going to do is to remove these very vigorous ones. And that was intentional to grow like that to get the health of the plant back. So we're gonna take these bigger ones off, and what's remaining in here will be smaller. So we're taking the vigorous, leaving the weaker one, which is kind of contrary to a lot of your ideas, but that's what we have to do with pines. The finished product should have fairly small growth, and then that's how eventually the needles get shortened. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna do, is to go through and remove the real vigorous first. So we're in here removing the big vigorous growers. And also we need to open it up so the sunlight will go in there. But let's see if this is a little better angle. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is to take the vigorous one out and leave some of the weaker ones. Also, I need to get sunlight in here, so the ones that tend to be pointed up, I'll remove. Now, if I remove too much, then that's not good either. But that's what I'm doing now, is to get rid of the very vigorous grower and the one that's going up in hopes of getting sunlight in here. So, you know, today I just came back from my dental cleaning. Such strange times. That was the highlight of my day. I basically am stuck here. Well, a lot of it is by choice. I just don't think I should be outside running around. Well, I don't drink anyway, so no bars, and my wife is an excellent cook, so we don't have this big desire to have to go out and eat. But I was thinking, you know, this is a good time for reflection. And I'm thinking, I'm glad that I'm doing this. I know I don't know you and I have not met you, but it gives me a purpose. Now, a lot of this I'm doing probably won't have to do if it wasn't for the fact that we're in a pandemic and you're more or less stuck at home and I'm stuck at home. And so actually, I'm very grateful that you guys are watching me and have kind of given me some things to do. It really is pathetic when your dental appointment is the highlight of your day. So can you see what I've been doing? Originally, I was gonna shoot this video outside while still on the display table. But we know we have that problem of the sunlight. If it's hitting wrong, then you end up with shadows and things like that. Also, it's hard to get a plain background. So I came up with this idea, hey, wait a minute, if I could take one of my carts and put a plywood on it, then I could get it to the height that I want and then slide it on and slide it off. So, but because it's not on the turntable, it takes me a while to turn it around, which is a lot better than having to pick it up. So I know it's going to be redundant, but I figure if I just keep this repetition over and over again, hopefully you'll get the message. So the vigorous one gets removed and the lesser one stays. And try to open it up. Okay, are you seeing a pattern? I think I'm gonna try this technique. It's called needle cutting, and what you do is physically cut each one of the long needles. Now, if you pluck it, there's a bud underneath there that could die. So we actually have to cut it and leave all that in place. Okay, while we're here, once again, when we're working on these, 99% of the time, we remove the center candle. Okay, and then we work. Don't commit yourself to this technique lightly. It's tedious because you have to cut them all. You can't pluck it. I know. Well, some people say that you can't just cut across. You have to go to individual and cut them like that. Well, okay, that's probably the perfect way, but I don't have time, so I'm gonna cut them like that. So for every person that knows how to do pine, they have a different technique. And I don't think anyone is perfect, right? Well, when I was in Japan, I noticed that they had different techniques on the different regions too. So I'm just kind of making things up and making my thing work the best I can as quickly as I can. I'm also switching shears so that, this is more like a mini head shear rather than cutting individual. So I know there's some of you that are much better at this and you're having a fit. Why? You can't do it like that. I didn't learn it from my teacher that way. Well, sorry. This is the way I do it because I have to get done. Now, this being my uncle's is fairly precious to me, but I'm in the business of selling, so if somebody comes around and want to buy it, it's gone. I wasn't going to do that before, and I had some that was my uncle's that surprised the heck out of me is sold. And for a while, I was kind of distressed. I says, well, what have I done? Well, what I did was I priced it high so that I figured people will not pay that kind of money. Well, this lady bought it anyway. So I have to thank my uncle up in the heaven. And actually what happened after that was I was able to afford my video camera, my first one. So once again, yes, I sold my uncle's, that was a Japanese maple, nice one too. Anyway, it got sold, I recovered, and now, so actually, you could actually thank my uncle for where I am making these videos. Now, not this camera, but my first one that I couldn't afford at the time, but after that very expensive maple sold, yes, I could afford it. So once again, Uncle, thank you. See down here, it's weak, too much shade. So by opening it up, these will regain vigor. So that's what I'm going to do here, is to keep the shape, but open it enough so that we get enough sunlight evenly. Okay, I'm going to call it quits. I know some of you out there are probably going, why can't he be a little bit neater? I'm not what you call a neat person. But if you're going to do this technique where you're going to cut the needles, make sure your tree is healthy. One of the reasons why we do this is try to slow down the vigor, making it unhealthy, right? And the other purpose is to get sunlight in there. So if you have a weakened tree, do not do this. I think this is the back side, but I just turned my card around so you could see. Actually, it looks pretty good on this side too, doesn't it? So for shows and things like that, never cut the needle. So you should not have a cut needle visible in a show. And come to think about it, if you really want to follow the Japanese standard, you should not have any wire still on a tree. Wire on a tree denotes being in training. And that's what this needle cutting is too. This is one of the techniques into finishing. So a good tree that's show worthy has short needles naturally, not cut. Anyway, so much for this. I'm going to put this back onto the sunny location, and I'm going to call it quits for today. So this is Hiro saying goodbye. This was my Uncle Taka's tree. Probably started not too long after World War II ended. I inherited it over 30 years ago. So basically it's my tree, but it started with my uncle. I was thinking, you know, some people are super neat. I'm not. That's why there's some long needles sticking out. Some people get them so that absolutely every single one is the same length. And I'm thinking, you know, Dale's like that. So maybe one of these days I'll have him prune and do this technique in one of my better pines. And then I could show you what it should look like when it's done correctly. So once again, Hiro says, do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay, I'll see you again real soon. Bye.